Hi and welcome to the latest episode of the Keto Vegan. I'm Rachel and today I'm going to share with you one of my favourite recipes. It's onion marmalade. Now it's not quite keto, it's a little bit too carby because red onions have a lot of carbs in, balsamic vinegar has a lot of carbs in, and I put in rather a lot of port. Don't worry, all the alcohol gets boiled off, but that's got quite a few carbs in as well. All the details of how many carbs and the ingredients are below, but have a look. If you can keep this pretty low carb as long as you don't eat a whole jar, but that's really flippin' tempting. Are there any recipes you want me to keto veganize? I do try to do that with everything. I do love food and different flavors. I don't like to stick to the same thing the whole time. But if there's anything you want me to try to keto veganize, let me know. Leave me comments, email me. My contact details are right at the bottom of all the details underneath. If you are listening, I hope everything is pretty clear. It is on YouTube as well. If you enjoy this podcast, please leave me a review and share it with your friends. And I really appreciate you listening. Stay tuned for the next episode. I'm using 500 gram bags of red sliced onions. They're from Sainsbury's, and you can see there that they are 7.8 grams of carbs per 100 grams. Fat is very low and protein is 1.3 grams per 100 grams, fibre 2.9 grams per 100 grams. So let's just go over to the hob. I have put 3 kilograms of onions in this big saucepan, so I'm going to make loads and loads of red onion marmalade. The other ingredients I'm going to put in is some port, balsamic vinegar, white wine vinegar. I should be putting in red wine vinegar, but I haven't got any, and so we adapt, and sugar-free sugar. I am going to use the Truvia for baking brown, and because again I haven't got enough, I am going to use the Truvia for baking caster sugar, salt and pepper as well. What I have done, I've put lots of olive oil in the bottom of the pan and just emptied the bags into the pan. They are frozen bags, so I've left them out all day and they've done a lot of defrosting already, but that is going to take quite a bit of time to start getting warm and heating up. In this red onion marmalade, there is about 6, 7, 8 tablespoons of olive oil. I just made sure I coated the bottom of the pan with oil, and there is 3 kilograms of red sliced onions, frozen bags from Sainsbury's. It's so much easier, saves lots and lots of tears. I know some people can cut onions and it doesn't bother them. It really makes my nose run and my eyes stream, so I go for the frozen option. I'm going to put 300 grams of the Truvia sugar in there. I'm going to put 300 ml of white wine vinegar, and I might add a bit more for taste once it started cooking thoroughly. I'm going to put 375 ml of port in there. As you can see, here's my port, which I found in my cupboard, which is great. And then about 6 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar, and then seasoning it with salt and pepper. The first stage, you can just hear it bubbling away now. The first stage is basically, I'm going to fry that for about 30 minutes until the onion gets caramelized. And then I'm going to add the rest of the ingredients, apart from not all the sugar. I'm going to be adding some of the sugar to begin with, and then the rest of the ingredients. These red onions and the oil have been simmering now for about half an hour, but you can see there's still a lot of liquid there, so I'm going to wait for that to reduce for another 5 minutes. Then I'm going to add half of the sugar. Using the frozen onion, it's always quite watery, so using frozen onion will take longer to simmer down to very little liquid. If you are using fresh onions, then you will probably only need to boil them or simmer them for half an hour. I'm now going up to about 40 minutes, then I'll add the sugar, half of the sugar. I've added half of the sugar. I'm going to stir that in and then simmer for another 15 minutes. This has now been simmering for another 30 minutes, and I'm going to add the rest of the ingredients. So the rest of the sugar, the white wine vinegar, because I wasn't organised to get red wine vinegar, and the balsamic vinegar. There's the sugar, so you can see a bit of brown in there, and the white castor. And now I've added the liquid too. I've already seasoned it with a bit of salt and pepper. I will season again as it starts cooking through. So I'm going to stir that through and leave it to simmer for another 45 minutes. It takes a long time, this one. But it is so worth it. My next door neighbour, Barbara, is going to love me because I'm going to take her a jar. You do need lots of empty jars that are hot and sterilised, but I'll show you that bit later. Okay, I left that simmering for 30 minutes. It needs much longer because there's still too much liquid in there, but look at that beautiful colour. I've just given a little bit of a taste test and added a bit more salt. We'll taste it again. I'm going to leave it another 15 minutes. Just leave it. It's on pretty high. It doesn't stick to the pan. Just make sure you've got a really good pan there. And just let it simmer down till there's barely any liquid left. I'm now going to go and get all my jars out and get those ready to put in the oven. So here you can see that I've been saving up glass jars for quite some time. Now make sure you don't accidentally use a glass jar that is plastic, because that will melt in the oven. What I recommend you doing, because I've got more glass jars here by loads than I'm going to use, start with the small ones first, because that means you can give more away. That's because you're not going to want 3 kilograms of red onion marmalade. Well, you might do, it will last for quite a while. But I'm using this, it's the end of October, and I'm using this as little Christmas gifts, and I'm certainly going to give one to my neighbour Barbara. If you watched the Keto Vegan barbecue, she's the one that said that how surprised she was at how good the food was. She is hilarious, lovely Scottish lady. So she's going to get a jar. My kids will want jars as well. I was at a party on Halloween a couple of nights ago, and somebody was saying there as well, who'd been at the barbecue, how absolutely he loved this, and including the onion marmalade. So there are my jars. I am now going to take the lids off. I'm going to turn the oven on in possibly 10 minutes, but put the jars in the oven lidless before you turn on the oven, and then just get the oven to about, right, I had to go and check then how hot you have the oven. You don't have it very hot at all. So to about 150 degrees, or gas 1 and 2, that's all. And then you heat them for a minimum of 15 minutes. And then once the onion mixture, let's go and have a look at that again. Still simmering away beautifully, still too much liquid in there. Then once the onion mixture has cooled down a little bit, but is still hot, you put that in the jars. Now there's no way, even though I've cooked 3 kilograms of red onion, that's not going to fill very many jars at all. Doesn't go far, it's such a shame, and it's so tasty. Okay, so I'm just turning off the extractor fan. I have left that for another 15 minutes, and you can see there that there's very little liquid left, and you can hear the difference when I'm stirring it. So I have turned off the heat, but because this is whatever hob it is, it won't cool down for ages. So that's still going to be cooking for a little while. So I'm going to get the jars out of the oven now. So here are the jars. There's the red onion marmalade ready to put in. Do it as soon as you can. Do not touch the jars with your hands, even though it's going to be pretty tempting. Get a decent oven mitt, and then fill up the glass jars right to the top. Take a skewer and just poke any holes, air holes out, and then put the lid on really tight and turn it upside down to sterilize the lids. So here's one jar that I've filled right to the top. Here's 3 more little ones that I'm just about to turn upside down. Put the lids on already. Make sure they're nice and tight before you do that. So here's the finished product, all upside down. I estimated the right amount of jars exactly. So this one here is going to be mine because it is half full, and probably not as sterilised as much because the pot was a bit cool by the time I put that in. So that should go straight in the fridge. But the rest of them, if you keep them in a cool place and don't open them, they should last for about
3 months in your larder, but once opened, put them in the fridge. Not that these will last, mind you, I hope these will last 3 months because it's about 6-7 weeks until Christmas, and that's when I want to be giving them away. Really hoped you enjoyed this. Let me know if you make your own. Please subscribe and subscribe to and follow my podcast. If you're listening to this one, it's also on YouTube. You'll be able to watch it too.